Hi everyone, Eileen back again with you from sunny North Kent. It's really beautiful here today. Hope it's the same where you are. Going to share this card with you today that I made using Lavinia stamps. It's a mermaid, it's from the new release, and her name is Althea. I think that's how you pronounce it. She's absolutely gorgeous. I've used the mermaid, and I've used a small stamp of a cluster of stars that she's holding, and they're the only two stamps for this card. The background, as you can see, is an abstract using distress inks, colour palette that I use often, picked raspberry, mustard seed and peacock feathers. In distress ink, normal distress ink, but you can use oxides for this if you want to. I just like the transparency that the distress inks give me for this cardstock, and the fact that you can see the image a lot better because of the transparent inks underneath and not the opaque inks underneath. I'm using makeup brushes as well, normal ones that I use, and a spreader from Sweet Poppy Stencils, and that's how I get the lines along with the makeup brushes and the inks. This is a spreader from Sweet Poppy Stencils, and I use this for screen printing, but I found it's really handy when I want a quick card, and this is the result, because this is very quick to do. If you haven't got one of these or not considering investing, then you could use a credit card. And I also tried this morning just a piece of cardstock that I'd folded in half to give me thickness down this edge, and placing this edge down and using the brushes, I got more or less the same effect. So, you know, and also the bonus of this is that if I'd carried on, I reckon I would have got a lovely background on this card that I could have used in another piece of artwork. So always a good sign there when you can get value for money. So that's that. Now, let's get on. The cardstock I'm using is from Paper Mill Direct. It's super smooth, 300 GSM, and it works really well for this technique. So taking our spreader, oh, and the size of this, by the way, is 8.5 centimetres by 18 centimetres, and that gives me the topper, which I then fixed to a card base of the same size, so I didn't have to bother about with all that matting and layering stuff, because I find that really boring. So I do like my one layer cards. Okay, so putting the spreader on and going from corner to corner, let's go with the first layer, which will be pink. Ink pad is not very wet. It's quite a dry ink pad because the wetter your ink pad, the more splodges you might get, and they're difficult to blend out with these brushes. So take some of the ink off if you find that your pad is too wet. And I'm not bothering about the layer being too opaque. I'm just spreading it on, trying to keep it fairly transparent, bearing in mind that's a large image, so I don't want the background to overpower her. And I do like the way that the colours blend in when the ink isn't too thick, and it gives me nice tones and shades. Mustard seed is next, and I've changed the angle, calming down, maybe more of the yellow at this corner and then fading out as it goes over. Let it drift over the pink, that will give you a bit of orange. And then I'm going to use some blue, just angling again to take out some of that yellow space. But now I've got to be careful with this blue because this is very wet. So taking a lot of it off and just very gently and that will give me purple tones, the blue and green tones. So I'm quite liking that. Different to my original card, same principle of course, but different angles because you can't get the same one all the time. Okay, back to pink again. Let's go down again, not too heavy-handed with the ink. Better blend if it's not too wet. That's that. And then I think I might go, I'm going to go sort of a horizontal line, I think, across. Try and get the cardstock straight. Get that there. Yeah. And with blue. And again, gentle. Alter the direction of the brush, go in a different direction. That's nice. Now, I'm going to come up from the bottom and I'm going to come in from about 3/4 of an inch. Maybe just over, yeah, maybe an inch. And then I'm trying to line up the bottom of the spreader on the card. Because I want to do a vertical line now. So I think I might bring it in again, bring it out again. So it's about 1/2 inch in from the side of the cardstock. Yeah, about just over 1/2 inch. And then going for lemon or mustard seed, and not right to the top, but coming down, down, and fading as I go across the card. I'm fading the mustard seed out a bit because I'm mindful that that image is going on there and I want her to be center stage. So right the way down, but not right the way to the top. And then I'm taking a bit of pink and I want to go about halfway down to give me some orange, and I'm going to go up that way this time. Just an orange tone. That's that. That's not bad. So that, I think, oh, I could do with a bit of blue there, but again, I'm going to be mindful that I don't want the ink to be too opaque, too overpowering, too much of a layer. I just want to keep the transparency of the ink. So I'm not going to apply too much. Just fade it out again, flicking the brush. Yeah, that's good. And then maybe a little bit more of the pink there. Again, kissing the surface of the cardstock so that you're not grinding it in so that it's too wet. Yeah, that'll do me. Right, now we're on to stamping. So move these out of the way. You'll find that it might brighten up as the ink soaks into the cardstock. I think the colours sometimes get a little bit brighter. Right, so we go. I'm going to use a stamp mat now. I'm going to be brave. I'm not using my stamp pad. Let's see if I can get this image down using this. Oh dear. If I'm successful, you'll see me do this. If it isn't successful, I shall be using a stamp pad, but you'll never know, will you? Gentle tapping, I'm using VersaFine Clair, and it's called Nocturne, this one, it's the black. Make sure I've got it well inked, especially this tail area. And again, and her body is the silhouette shape, so she's solid black there. Let's do the hair. Tail is very, very detailed, so making sure that is well covered. Okay, cross your fingers for me then, because this is a big image. Okay, there's no surplus around. Oh yes, there is there. There's a bit of surplus ink around the outside, so I want to get rid of that. Not taking a risk that I get a mark on that. And commit down. So I want to make sure, I'm going to have to stand up. I want to make sure that she's properly on this. So it's there, hover, hover, down, press. Okay. Right, I've committed now. Let's just see how this comes out. Oh, I'm looking out of the window and there's a black cloud coming over. I hope it's not trying to tell me something. Now, gentle pressure now. Don't rock the stamp, don't move the stamp. I'm not telling you that, I'm telling me that. Tail is quite detailed, her body's detailed. In fact, all of her is detailed. British Grand Prix on this weekend. I got to watch qualifying today and the practice. And then looking forward to the race tomorrow. Not so much of an atmosphere because there's nobody there, but it's still very enjoyable, and the Sky commentators are very good, I find. I'm a great fan. So looking forward to that. Right, fingers crossed then. Ooh, perfect. Beautiful stamp, beautiful image. Yep. Okay, now I mustn't muck this up now because I've got a good background, I've got a lovely image, and I'm really happy with that. So I'm just going to plonk that up. I'm just going to stamp those stars on and then do a bit of doodling, and then I'm going to say goodbye and go off to watch my racing. I have a problem. I cannot find where I've put my stars. So, sorry folks, you're going to have to guess that the stars are there. Let's get on with the doodling. And I'm using a white pen. And I'm also using a black pen. And I'm also going to... I can't find it now. Ensure... Right, I've got a black watercolour pen here. I'm not using it with watercolour. I've got a tiny amount of white showing through that image, through her face. And I just wanted to get rid of that because it was winding me up. So now, for me, that is so beautiful. What a lovely stamp that is. White pen. I'm just going to do a bit of doodling. If you look at the original card that I did a bit of doodling here and I did a bit of doodling there. So let's do the same. So let's do this here. And I've done this before, so you'll probably be familiar with it, but it's so quick and so easy. So just drawing in with a white pen, and this is a Uniball pen, pigment ink, UM153. And I'm just going to draw in a few of these, not too many, a few there, And then we'll have another few here. Don't want them to be too large. I think they were better on my original card. Are you seeing this okay? Yeah, not bad. Right, so that's the white pen, which I think is running out. Now be kind. So we'll have a few more dots there. Fill in the middle, and then white dots in between. Small white dots. Just to give it a little bit of a doodle. And come out of that area if you want and go up the card, or whatever you want to doodle yourself. So that's that. Then this area, again, going to fill some of these in, and then fill the spaces in with white dots. Just doing the two areas, it just adds a bit of interest, and there's no more stamps to use, and it's sort of a cheap way of adding interest to your card. Put a few black areas in there, just to draw your eye to it, and a few black areas in there. I'm rushing this a bit, you can take your time. So that will do. Okay, so I think I'm done. Let's have a look, see what you think. Pop that piece there so that you can see. So, what do you reckon? I don't think that's too bad. In fact, the stamp is better on this one than the original one. I lost some of the detail on her tail. I haven't got the stars in this one, but you can sort of put anything you like in her hand. There's some sea urchins, and there's some hearts. I chose the stars because I thought that would be quite easy to do, and it was. And then the bit of doodling. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm off to go and look at practice 3 of the Grand Prix in Britain, the British Grand Prix. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you tomorrow though. Bye for now.